Fears of a double-dip recession. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article written by Jason Murphy for news.com.au. Well, talking about a potential double-dip recession. I'm more concerned that we're going to start seeing a K-shaped recovery, where some parts of the economy will continue to be in recession while others will just drive ahead. But we'll have to see. So, Australia is out of recession, but how long will the honeymoon last? Is this a dead cat bounce for the economy, everyone? Australia has clawed its way out of recession in the last quarter, but all that progress could be ruined with a single wrong step by the Treasurer. Australia, we're out of recession. Well, technically we need to have some growth, but that's what people are saying now that the recession's over. Does it feel like it, guys? Does it feel like it? We shrank in the first quarter of January, Feb, March. Then we shrank in the second quarter of April, May, and June. That was enough to satisfy the definition of a recession. Now in the third quarter, the national economy is growing. Now here's the thing, guys. Technically we may be out of recession, but you have to understand, since the GFC, our economic growth on a per capita basis has been below trend. So one could argue that the economy has been depressed since that period. So, we're out of recession, hurrah! What we have to worry about now is a double dip. Double dipping in this context does not refer to your mates who stick a carrot stick back into the French onions dip. It's when the economy recovers from a recession and then goes back into one. A double dip recessions are common. Europe double dipped after the GFC. America double dipped in the 80s. And oh yeah, it also double dipped at the end of the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. In fact, the original recession in America during the Spanish flu was small compared to the one that followed. That's when consumer confidence probably really takes a hit, or when people have expected things to get good, it made investments and then just gets slammed again. The 1918 recession was mild and quickly reversed, and stands in very sharp contrast to the 2021 recession, say researchers at the Chicago Federal Reserve Bank. Bear in mind, you can't definitively say the pandemic caused either of those recessions. The end of World War I could be a factor. So recessions suck. They cause human misery, families break up, people lose their homes and businesses, kids go hungry, lives are wasted in unemployment. This is not just the statistical game we're playing. It matters desperately. In a recession, unemployment rises fast, but it goes back down only slowly. The damage of a 6-month recession can take 6 years or more to undo. But here's the thing. You need a recession to clean out the inefficient businesses, to get rid of the useless jobs, to create new opportunities. You need to clear out the overgrowth. This is part of nature, everyone. But we seem to be so adverse to difficult times, to challenging times. We're only focusing on the negative impacts of it. You could emerge from it stronger. So what's so devastating about a double dip recession is that just when the healing is ready to start, things get worse again. What's probably the intervention? I mean, we'll have to look back at the recession. I wonder what the intervention was in 2021 as opposed to 1918, because that's probably the biggest factor that's caused the problems. Check out what happened in Europe after the GFC in the next two charts. The recessions are marked with blue shading. Europe felt bad with unemployment at over 10%. Then the second recession came along and pushed it up to 12%. It took from 2012 until all the way to 2020 to get back to the levels it was in pre-GFC. Well, yeah, I mean, we saw that even in our GFC, unemployment didn't get back until those levels until just recently. It took a decade. From the 92 recession, the employment rate took about a decade to get back. Are we going to see about a decade for employment to get back here in Australia now? Australia's first recession in 30 years has been a weird one because it wasn't caused by bad business conditions or lack of confidence. Businesses were going along okay before the pandemic came upon us. Were they? We seem to see more and more in the news of retail businesses closing down. Wage growth had completely stagnated. Our manufacturing base and economic complexity was reducing. Are those good signs? We shut down, and we might dare hope that when we open back up fully, it will be as it was. We get a bounce back from the shutdown that props up growth for a quarter or two. After that, we return to the so growth levels we were getting at the end of 2019. But the shutdown has changed the economy. It's now more fragile. Businesses have bigger debts, more people are out of work, confidence is not what it was, and our trading partners are all in the economic hurt locker too. That alone puts us at risk of another recession. Remember that before the coronavirus, our economy was growing slowly, just over 2% a year in total, and much less than that per capita. Even a slightly less vibrant environment puts growth at risk. But the even bigger issue for our economy is the amount of government money that is flowing through it. Businesses and households are being propped up by government funding in the form of JobSeeker and JobKeeper. We're not quite sure how dependent on these payments the economy is. We're going to find out the hard way because they are being removed as we speak. JobSeeker shrank from the 25th of September and JobKeeper is being cut from the 28th of September. Now, it could be that will have a drastic effect on the economy and we'll start to see it hit in discretionary spending and the economy will fall even further. Or the savings rate, which is at an unusually high level, about 19% here in Australia, could take the hit. There's the question. Have a lot of people been better off and been saving frantically? How many people need all this money? If you're not traveling, you're not eating out, if you're being more cautious. So we'll have to see, guys. It'll take some time to tell. The government has promised it will eventually start to focus on returning to surplus. The Treasurer has said the process will begin when the unemployment rate comes back down to 6%. That could be a disaster. If he starts slashing spending when the unemployment rate is 6%, it will probably stay at 6% or even get higher. Previous Treasurer Wayne Swan and Joe Hockey made similar mistakes last decade, obsessing on the return to surplus. They never achieved it, and instead unemployment slowly got worse. We've seen what kind of wages growth we get with unemployment above 5%, stuff all. And, well, he's right there. He's right there. There's no wage growth. I suspect our leaders are just going to do the same thing. They're going to chuck everything at housing. They're going to chuck everything at migration. They're going to, trick more people into coming over here with the prospect of a good education and then unemployment. Go Australia. We need to get unemployment down to closer to 4% and make serious inroads into underemployment before the labour market is tight enough to think about surpluses. Australia has a bounce back left in it. When Victoria reopens, that will provide some spring and lift. The October economic statistics will show growth as they capture. Victorian retailers and restaurants getting going again, but after that, it could be a bumpy road ahead. Now, this contrasts to the other article written by Tarek, where he's looking at just Chinese demand for iron ore and that flowing through for resources here in Australia. But it shows you in some ways we're a one-trick pony. I mean, Jason wants more government intervention and more government financial or fiscal stimulus into the economy. I mean, that's his position. And you're starting to see that manifest in all the different people that are commenting on what's happening in the economy. And it's a crazy ride. At least with real estate, we know we just don't trust anything domain publishers and look at the opposite. So what do you think, everyone? Do you think Australia is at risk of a double dip recession? Do you think the government is, moving too early to withdraw stimulus and support? Should they continue to pay the job seeker? Should they continue to pay the JobKeeper? Or are we at risk? There's another video I did out that I'll release later looking at youth unemployment, which is at a high levels. And there we've got this interesting situation. You've got property seeming to start booming in Sydney and other areas. You've got the government throwing money to stimulate that part of the economy. Housing. But then you also have unemployment growing with the youth. You've got underemployment growing. You've got wages completely stagnant for a long time, pretty much. You've got a growing divide. Is Australia going to head in, will it be a K recovery? That's probably what I'm leaning more towards, and I want to look at more in the coming videos. And what will happen then with the social unrest if we have an even greater disparity between those that are employed and those that aren't? Those have access to housing, better quality jobs, and those that aren't. If we have a generation that are stuck in unemployment, how's that going to affect their prospects for the future moving forward? What do you think, everyone? Do you think it's just going to be a one-trick pony? Will the government manage to kick the can down the road, or are they removing their support mechanisms too early? One thing's for sure, we won't actually see the real impact of this on the economy until the government support is removed. And what about this constant fear of even having a recession? Can that be healthy? Will that result in a resilient economy, in a resilient civilization, if we've been wrapped in cotton wool? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. Simply joining the channel on YouTube or Patreon, you can support us with a small financial donation. You can use any of our affiliate links you can find below. You can buy a merch from Teespring or Highs It Says, or use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint. Or finally, you can support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you all in the next episode.